Hey guys, this is Statton. Welcome to another Heart to Heart with Statton, where feelings matter but the facts come first. Now, we all have things that we are afraid of, things that we have that fear that just takes over us, and I'm just talking about, not sure if it counts as a phobia or not, it might, but like for me, I have a fear of heights, and I mean a serious fear of heights. In fact, the place that I worked at before, the place where I work at now, I worked in sanitation, and one of the things you had to do was use a scissor lift. Now, you'd be amazed at how high those scissor lifts can go. I mean, we had to clean the fans that were all the way up in the ceilings, and those were some pretty tall ceilings, or high ceilings, I should say, and I remember my friend Alderon, who has a YouTube channel of his own. Well, he and I actually met at that place. He was the one that trained me. Now, I think he was actually surprised at how my fear of heights took over, because when he took me on a scissor lift for the first time, now we had safety harnesses and everything, but we went up. We didn't even go as high as the thing could. We just reached, well, for a lack of a better way to put it, let's just say that the place where we worked at, the rooms were as tall as two floors. Like if you took a 2-floor building, removed the ceiling and the floor that divided them up, that's how tall they were. Well, anyways, we went up a little ways, and he looked over and he saw that I was literally frozen, that I was gripping both sides with my fist or with my hands, and he told me if I wanted to make it in that job, I'd have to relax and overcome the fear, which there is absolute truth to that. There was one time where we had to change the clocks because it was the daylight savings thing, and some of those clocks, holy cow, are they high up? Well, when we did that, we used one of the scissor lifts. I forget exactly what you had to do, but while the other scissor lifts could just easily go up and down by you just tilting the joystick on it, and yes, I'm going to call it a joystick. I'm not sure if that's the right word for it. But anyways, we got this one scissor lift because there's like 3 or 4 of them over there. Well, anyways, once you stop ascending up higher with it, you have to do something extra. I forget if it's like flip a switch or push a button, then tilt the joystick. Well, I forgot that, and it's like I had to change the clock, and I think Alderon was behind me, and after I got done, it's like, okay, I'm gonna lower the thing. So I tilt the joystick back, nothing happens. So I start to go into a panic. I'm like, okay, come on, Alderon, I need your help. Get me down. Get us down from here. And sometimes, being the one who trained me, Alderon can take authority, which there's nothing wrong with that. So he'll talk to you when in a way that shows you need to calm down. So he's like, stop. You need to stop. But and sometimes I will listen, but in this case, I just snapped at him. I'm like, don't tell me to calm down. Get me down from here. And he just looked shocked, like he did not expect that reaction. But then within 2 seconds after giving that look, he relaxed, and he had an amused expression. At least I think it was amused, but either way, I could tell that he understood why I was panicking. So he took over and he got us down. Now, that is to say that I never went up on the scissor lift by myself. I did learn to go up those things, but that's something I might get back to later. The thing is the fear of heights is always with me. I remember the one thing my family and I used to do when I was younger, I'm talking about back in my elementary school years to early middle school years, every spring break, we used to go down to Florida, to Orlando, Florida, and we would go to the theme parks. From the 3 Disney theme parks, which there might be more now. I heard rumors that there were some added. I haven't been there in years, so I wouldn't know. But back then, it was the Magic Kingdom, Epcot, and MGM Studios. Now, then there was other theme parks that were not related to Disney, such as the Universal Studios theme park. Now, we also took my cousin along, and I have an older brother. Now, the reason this detail is important is because they would go on the roller coaster rides together each and every year, while I would sit back and just wait for them to come back, because I was that terrified. You could not get me on any of those things to save my life until one year. There was one year where they all finally started to talk me into it. And now, if you are familiar with the old Magic Kingdom theme park, and by old, I don't mean super old. I'm just talking about maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago. Wow, it's been that long. Wow. Anyways, there were 3 main roller coaster rides. There might have been others, small. They were smaller ones, but they were Thunder Mountain, Splash Mountain. Yes, I'm counting Splash Mountain as kind of a roller coaster ride, though it wasn't completely fast all the way through, but I'll get to that later. And Space Mountain. Now, I honestly don't know why that year of all years that they talked me into it, but over time, even my own father wanted me to go on these rides with them, and he went too. Now, I was really terrified for my dad because at this time he had a couple, maybe even a few heart attacks, and his heart was not in good condition. It was to the point where if like say if we're driving down a road or something and someone is driving close to us and they have their bass set on high, for some reason the vibrations of the bass really bothered him. It almost seemed like it was inflicting pain on him. Now when I think about that, and the fact that he couldn't do any serious heavy lifting and all that, and I was afraid that if he went on rides that rough, such as roller coasters, that it wouldn't be good for his heart. I really didn't like the fact that he was going to go on them with us, but he talked me into the first one, which the first one was Thunder Mountain. Thunder Mountain, when we got on there, yeah, it was fast. It was not one I would really want to go on again, but it one advantage and what made it a good roller coaster to start out with is it's one that's actually close to the ground almost at all times. I mean, the only time it seems like you're gaining any height is when when the tracks lead outside the caves and you're on the side of what is supposed to be a man-made small mountain sort of thing. But even then, the ground was not high at all. So I managed to keep my eyes open. I saw everything. And then the next thing, we did Splash Mountain. Now, Splash Mountain is where the challenge was going to be. We already knew it was from what I was told, I already knew. It's going to be a slow ride for the most part. The quick part is when you go down the waterfall. But from what I saw, it was high. So my cousin didn't, even though he knew I was going to go on that ride with them, he believed I was going to, shut my eyes. That I wasn't going to keep my eyes open as I would go down the waterfall. And I would tell him, oh, yeah, I'm going to go. I'm going to keep my eyes open. I mean, this is, yeah, I'm terrified. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna pretend that I'm not afraid. But at the same time, if I'm gonna do this, I might as well milk the experience for all that it's worth. And they're like, no. He's like, no, I don't believe you for a second. And then we made an agreement on something. When the people go down the waterfall, they take a picture, a snapshot, which they'll display on the screen that you can take a look later. So we agreed that we would look at it, and if my eyes were open, he'd admit he was wrong. And if my eyes were shut in that picture, I would admit that I was the one that was wrong. Well, we finally reached that point. I could see the light in the opening of the cave as we were ascending up the tracks. Man, did I grip that seat tighter than I ever thought I even had the strength to. But nevertheless, I forced myself to keep my eyes open. As then suddenly I dropped down. It was over before I knew it. Then we decided to take a look at the screen. That moment of truth. The very thing that would prove me right and my cousin wrong. What did the picture show? Someone during the waterfall threw their hands up so one of their hands was actually blocking my face from the camera. Yeah, that happened. So, to this very day, I don't know if my cousin Thomas believes that I shut my eyes or if I kept them open. I did, though. But either way, that's another experience I didn't think I would ever have in my entire life, and I could add that to the books. Then came, to me at least, the biggest one of them all, Space Mountain. One that my brother and my cousin went on each and every year. And I think they actually went on them multiple times. And, well, my dad talked me into that because that was the one I was definitely the most afraid of. But I was also afraid because from what little I saw, and when I say little I saw, it's because when you're in line, there are little dark windows, black windows, and you'll see green streaks that'll shoot across those windows, which happens to be the vehicles of the people that are riding the ride. I wanted to talk to my dad out of it. I said, look, I will go on the ride as I promised, but please do not do this. I know you have, because of your heart problems, I'm worried that this will go very wrong for you. My dad said something. Well, first he said, I'll be okay. I will not put myself in a situation that it could potentially harm me. At the same time, he says, the very next thing he says is something I carry with me for the rest of my life. And I pray this is something that I live by, that I hope this is something I put into practice. And shame on me if there's a time I ever fail at it. And he said, I would never ask you or anyone else to do anything that I myself am not willing to do. That actually, that really meant a lot. That was, to this very day, those are words I remember clearly from him. So we went on it together. Now, was I scared during the ride? Oh yes. The height thing wasn't that big of an issue because the whole ride is supposed to simulate that you're in a roller coaster out in space. So being in a dark chamber with a large roller coaster, you don't see how high you really are. So it's not like I had heights, but man, did you go up and down and side to side like the other ones, while it looks like stars are zooming past you. And that was another experience I could add. I rode the 3 major rides, the major roller coaster rides at the time in the Magic Kingdom. Now, I don't know if this was planned or not. I don't think it was. I just think this was just something that happened as a result, but that actually ended up being the very last year we ever went to Orlando, Florida. And the fact that I can look back on that and realize that that was the last year makes me even more glad that I rode those roller coaster rides. Obviously, my fear of heights is not gone because I was just a kid back then. Now, the job I had before the job I have now, where I had to ride the scissor lifts, obviously that took place after years and years after that experience. And the fact that I've tightened my grip on the scissor lift, which, by the way, I forgot to mention one detail about the scissor lift. If the higher up it goes, the more it shakes, the more it moves, the more it swivels from side to side over at the slightest movement, which does not help matters at all when you have a fear of heights. But that fear was there. Now, did I suck it up in the end and do the things I needed to do with the scissor lift? Absolutely. There were fans over right up against the ceiling that had coverings that needed to be replaced because with clean ones every now and then. So I would have to take the scissor lift by myself and go up and change them, which also included me having to lean over the railing of the scissor lifts a little bit, which was no big deal. It wasn't leaning over as far, but obviously I had to reach for the fan coverings. And I just during those times, I wouldn't look down. I was literally so high I could reach my hand up and touch the tiles of the ceiling. And I did that multiple times until I changed jobs. By the way, I changed jobs because I was working night shift at the job before the one I'm working at, and I wanted a day shift job. So that it wasn't because of the whole heights thing, because I would have done that, kept on doing it. The fear was always there. I never got rid of my fear. I think I'll always have a fear of heights. But I'm happy for the experiences, as strange as that may sound. I'm happy that I got to ride those roller coaster rides. I'm happy that for the experience that I got to do the whole scissor lift thing, because I know despite my fears, I could do it. And I'm happy that my dad gave me those words of that I take as advice also. If he himself wouldn't ask me or anyone else to do what he is not willing to do, I think that's something we should all practice. We should never ask anyone to do anything that we ourselves are not willing to do. Now, that isn't to say that there aren't things that we can't do that others can. That in those situations, that doesn't count. But when it comes to things you can do, but are not willing to, yes, we shouldn't ask others to do it. If we should not ask others to do what we ourselves are not willing to do. Thank you for that advice, Dad. I miss you. I really do. Anyways, I hope this video will offer, I hope this will help people that need help in any way when it comes to overcoming their fears, or even if just that piece of advice that I mentioned from my dad, if that helps in any way. Or if it just allows you to enjoy hearing the experiences that I've lived. Either way. My name is Statton. Like, share, and subscribe. And remember that you are not alone, and you all have yourselves a wonderful day.